Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. My name is James, aka The Architect, and with me, as always, for this wonderful Season 2 debut of the Skull Hunter podcast, over to my left, we have Skull Hunter Games, aka Jordan. Above me, you have Joseph, aka Big Bush Tiny Mushroom, and to my diagonal, Brady Bunch style, we have Charles. How are you gents doing today?
Hold on a second. What did I do to deserve that? You did nothing for Blitzen.
Joseph literally did nothing. I was the screw up, and Joseph got it. He's the older brother. I'm the younger one. Being like,
with the new Season 2 of us, everyone has to get the love this time, not just Jordan.
Yeah.
I was finding those tiny mushrooms go, I do trust your expertise.
Oh!
So
We started off hot.
That is for true. All right. But go ahead, Jordan. Tell me, how have you been? And are you excited for Season 2?
I'm excited for Season 2. It is literally day one of getting back into the streaming, recording, everything else besides trying to do things last minute. So I'm excited for Season 2. I'm feeling good. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. That will be exciting. I'm going to say a lot because I am panicking. But now I want to know from Joseph, how have you been, my little silly goose?
I had a vacation. It was a few months ago up to this point. Actually, no, wait. What's it today? The 25th. So just had a vacation a month ago. I actually did a video recording for you guys. I was gonna do this as like, a keepsake from my vacation. It's still relevant, but it is a little. Oh shit. Oh, I see what I have to do. I have to actually press the play video button. See, phones are confusing these days because the video starts and you think it's playing, but
Great champion that I'm gonna use.
I fucked the whole thing up. All right. So here in Ontario had a nice vacation. The day right before vaccine mandates came into effect here in Ontario, so we got to do it before all of that shenaniganery took place. And then since then, just still holding down the fort, mes amis. Just here, still things are still going well with the company. Trying to make sure that I got time for my own stuff along the way. I definitely miss having this show. It's a great outlet to talk about game stuff, and so yeah, I'm just happy to be back here. Happy to be with you guys.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's just so weird because we're all like kind of speechless on like, it's like we're doing this again. This is happening. This isn't like, hey, we're getting together and doing this. It's actually happening.
Yeah. By the way, I've blocked off every Monday evening since you had to go, because there was never any like official hiatus. It was just maybe this week. All right, didn't happen. Mm-hmm. All right, next week, maybe not.
It was a.
And then we got to actually we do a recording. So my commitment never waned, and I think it's a good thing to, even if something doesn't look like it's going on for a while, you stay committed until you get the restraining order. That's what I learned.
I don't want to know how you learned that. I'm actually petrified to learn. So we're going to go with the person who has received the restraining order. Charles, are you excited about the podcast?
Back to the man who's not allowed. Speaking of restraining orders, back to the man who's not allowed within 50 yards of the playground. Charles, how you been, man?
I've been all right. I'm been with my girlfriend for almost 2 months now. Whoa! And as you guys can see, I got a new AEW shirt because I finally got the CM Punk one I've been wanting to get.
Nice.
And finally, after freaking being down here for close to a decade, I finally got a goddamn energy sword.
Oh yeah, now he can be slaying. Wow.
No, Charles' luck. It's the multiplayer version and not the story campaign version, where you only have like a certain number of swipes before it just dies.
You only get, what is it, 5? Yeah, because it goes by 20, so 20, 40,
yeah.
Fit.
Not like the Halo 2 one where I freaking had infinite ammo in multiplayer. That thing was fucking broken.
Well, that was also Halo 2 in better times, okay? We're living in 2021. Our times aren't good.
Yeah, because in Halo 2, you'd be flying across the map with that damn thing because the lunge range on that thing was freaking ridiculous. Mm-hmm.
For someone who'd never played Halo 2, but only got to play the one on Master Chief Collection, then I got to play it, I can say, it's not the same. Not the same. You still have
How
lunch,
many
not as crazy.
motherfuckers will drive by my house at once tonight? Jesus.
That will
Well,
never happen, my boy.
Speaking of things that may or may not be broken, let's start off with a fun little story to jump us right back into here.
Oh,
For
daddy.
good old time's sake, let's talk about Google Stadia. So, as you guys know, Google Stadia is slowly but surely waning away. There's still a thing, but we don't know for how much longer. They've shut down multiple parts of that operation. Multiple people have been fired, laid off, moved. We actually have a big mover, if you will. He's a big moving guy. The chief, is it the game developer? Yes, the Google Stadia game developer. Say that 5 times fast. He decided that he is like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore, and so he decided to go be part of the Google Cloud team. So when you start seeing moves like this, especially interbranch transfers, as they're known in the business world, he, it's usually not a good sign for the branch that you're being moved from. So obviously, with him being the chief game developer, he's a pretty big head at that company, pretty useful to Google, I would assume. And so they didn't want to get rid of him, but they couldn't keep him where he's at. So what do you guys take this news as? Like, what do you think? Do you think Stadia is like officially dead? Because I know we said it was dead a couple months ago, and it is, but it's still like it's on its life support. Do you think someone's gonna come on and pull the plug, or do you think it's gonna kick up out of this?
Honestly, like I think it's dead. Because for one, we've been bringing up on every podcast. Google Stadia has something to do with since the first podcast we've done.
That was our very first podcast.
Yep, our first podcast we talked about Google Stadia. But this is why I'm going to lean more on the side it's dead, is because Steam is kind of where everyone goes. If you mention a game, where do you first look? You look at Steam, look it up. You don't go on the Xbox app. You don't go on Blizzard. You don't. If it's a game, you look up Steam. And Google knows that. Everyone knows that. And from all the bad
you look
heat
on Google, I might add, by the way, you use Google to find the game.
Exactly. So it literally just shows you that Google Stadia is never going to make it. And what doesn't help either is every time we talk about a prediction of Google Stadia, it happens. We have not given it a good prediction. It's always been, this is what's going to happen. Next week, it happens. So I don't think it's coming back. I think it's officially just going to be slammed into the dirt as hard as it can, especially with the new updates for our Windows products. I don't see Google Stadia making a comeback anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. I remember when Microsoft got into the console market with the original Xbox, and there was a little bit of a cultural shift there for people's perception of Microsoft because they associate it with the computers and Windows. But Microsoft had been a games publisher prior to that point, and a good one too. Age of Empires, Myth series. They are known for not only making games but making high quality games, and so it wasn't so hard to get the kind of large scale market you need to buy into the console and therefore into the brand. It wasn't as hard. This Google, I always recognize Google as a utility company, and which is why they were wise not to rename YouTube into like Google View or Google Video or something like that, because they knew that if they do that, they're going to take away from the more cultural side of YouTube, and so with Stadia, I think a lot of where struggle is coming from is its inability to position itself as a consumer friendly product, and there's no theme to it. There's no motif. There's no character. I think if Google Stadia has a fighting chance, it's lucky to be a part of Google, which has infinite money. So they can if they think there's something good, but if they know it's going to take 10 years, then they can just keep on pumping money into it. I wonder if maybe they could have gone in a different route, where instead of building one from scratch, if they acquired a different manufacturer, to something who already had a built-in community to it, like how YouTube had a community going for it already.
Mm-hmm.
Google might want to consider doing stuff like that in the future.
Well, Google did do something like that. It bought YouTube. It bought YouTube before it, like, while it was still blowing up.
Yeah, that was the example I was referencing for them to do
Yeah.
again. Did they
Oh,
do it again? Maybe not. We'll have to look it up.
you know what? I thought they did. Did
Google
they? Never mind.
acquisitions. I'll check it out.
Yeah. I thought
Somebody
they
else
did
talk.
Okay. Charles, what do you think about this?
Sorry. Me, Stadia just feels like it's going the route of Blizzard, where it's slowly but steadily starting to die, and eventually die. And in Blizzard's case, it'll be bought by somebody, Square Enix.
Here's the thing: when it comes to like big companies, like shoot, let's talk about Blizzard Activision right now. Blizzard Activision, they're in a lot of trouble. They have actually just settled their lawsuit. We talked about it a bunch of times on the podcast already about frat boy culture, et cetera, what they've done. You know, terrible things done on the inside. And you talked about people like resigning, leaving, stuff like that. They actually just settled their third of many lawsuits to come for $18 million. But the thing about big companies like that is that they will very rarely will big corporations like that still produce large amounts of money. Very rarely will they just up and go. A lot of times they'll be bought out by another investing company or someone else and basically just put their heads at the top and then just say that they fixed the issue. Whether or not they actually did or not, that's to be seen. But if it comes to the point where Blizzard Activision is on the chopping block, they're going to be bought by someone else. That's what I personally think anyway. Big companies don't just go away. They get facelifts, basically.
I would laugh if Square Enix does buy Activision Blizzard. Maybe they can finally make freaking World of Warcraft actually freaking as good as it used to be. They can
The
make
best
Call of
decision
Duty-
Square Enix ever made was leaving the Hitman franchise. I've been trying to speedrun the new Hitman trilogy, and the game is so much more fun than the older Hitmans. And I know it had a lot has to do with like newer gameplay and mechanics and stuff like that, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that IO Interactive was just able to do their own thing without Square Enix, and that made that game so much better.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I've never played Hitman, but watching people play the newer ones is so much better. And it's hard for me to say because the graphics alone will already flatter me because I'm like, ooh, this is so nice. But I don't know the mechanics of it though, like the true mechanics of it. Like I think the one you're talking about also lets you kill somebody with a hamburger. I'm pretty certain.
Did you open up a restaurant and serve
So-
people like
Did they have
So-
grenades in it or something?
So what I went through, and I'm trying to play the games normally, like do the story missions and all that before I go off and kill all my targets in 13 seconds and try to leave the mission. So I was playing the Isles Sagales mission. It's at the end of Hitman 2. And basically, I'll keep it short. I pretended I was a dead guy and put on like this dead guy's burial robes and had the burial dagger. And as this lady was talking crap to me, she happened to be my target. I just... It was actually pretty cool. And there's like a lot
shanked
of story missions like that where you can do a lot of cool things. And they have like this one mission has like a morning star you can pick up and you can just beat people with. But it's classified as a non-lethal, which is weird, so it just knocks them out.
I don't think I would be knocked out if someone hit me with that, but okay, Hitman.
Isn't it Morning
But
Star-
it's pretty cool. It's a fun game. But back to the topic at hand. Yes, Square Enix could buy it. I don't know what Square Enix is looking like on their acquisition availability side. But, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, it seems like the Final Fantasy franchise is what's really holding that company together.
It's doing way better than it's doing really, really well right now. The servers are so freaking overflowing right now with people that they had to freaking tell people, please don't freaking create new accounts. Freaking try to play the game. We can't
Don't
handle
play
this.
our game.
It's
Stop playing our
the
game.
Servers can't handle this, any more people. But last I checked,
That's,
shows how good that game's going.
That's what Fortnite's saying to people trying to play on mobile devices. Don't play our game. because you can't.
It's just funny how you see like all the freaking cities where people you'd see crowds, people gathering. When you spawn, it's nothing like wall to wall people everywhere, and you can't even see your own name. And it's like Jesus Christ.
The most important thing is that as long as you have like at least 4 frames to walk around, that's the most important thing. I love doing that. Logging into a game and you do this, and yeah, and it's always a great experience when it feels like you're playing a Super Mario that's been in a washer. I've done
The
that.
busier I get, the more I would prefer for there to be more downtime. Like, all right, well, guess I'll pay my bills and earn my keep. Like,
Jordan's movie reminded me is
Like,
when I invented-
yeah, MMOs are like the one game genre where you do not want them to be optimized. They want to be sluggish. Things take forever because then you have more time to socialize and do other things. It's when they're too optimized, then people get stuck into the addictive cycle of it, and then they get burnt out, and then they don't play.
There's literally science behind why like
Yeah.
mobile games and stuff like that do that.
Yeah, why do you think people were so excited for World of Warcraft vanilla? Because it was regressing back to like the old school, but people preferred that. They enjoy playing it that way.
Same with like old school RuneScape. More
Wait,
people enjoyed
Jordan,
old school RuneScape than was it RuneScape 3 that they came out with?
Okay, go ahead, Charles.
The way Jordan was moving reminded me of what I imagine people trying to play the Matrix online, because you guys probably don't know that was an MMO at one point.
I remember it.
But the way he was moving reminded me of from what little I've seen of the game. It's like how people would move, and there would like be a bit of delay. And it's like Jesus Christ, this game is freaking old as hell these days.
I was thinking about Sims when I was
The
doing
game was
that.
old as heck when it came out.
Oh man, I'm old. Actually, I'm the youngest one here. It's nice being me.
I love The Sims, dude. I absolutely love it.
I just wonder if anything from that Matrix Online is going to be referenced in the new movie.
I don't
But it
think
was
so.
canon. Like I thought they said that what happened in Matrix Online was canon.
It is, as far as I
Yeah.
know.
Did not know that.
I'm just hoping that new movie doesn't suck.
You guys know what else is canon?
The segue.
Yeah, I still got a baby. You know what else is
Like
canon?
riding
The
a
fact
bike.
yeah,
I guess
Facebook
it's
sucks.
Oh, don't you be talking about my baby? Why?
Oh, because well, today's the 25th. I believe it was last week, maybe a week and a half ago. Facebook got taken down for like what was it, 16 hours.
16 hours, and
16 hours.
I'll say this.
I didn't know it was that long.
Oh, it was long. So
Yeah.
when you
So-
are in charge of Facebook ads, you know how long it's down.
So what had happened was, now we're gonna, if you guys would indulge and put on your tinfoil hats real quick. So there was an ex-employee, we'll refer to them as whistleblower. They were set to have an interview on 60 Minutes, basically talking about how that Facebook was trying to do their part to make sure people only saw certain kinds of political arguments. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Well, the day that this interview was going to air, Facebook gets taken down. And there was reports that from what was leaked, first off, people made it seem like it was an inside job. So someone from the inside took down Facebook and started deleting chunks of source code, which couldn't be backed up. So basically people were like, okay, they're cleaning the slate. They're trying to get rid of any evidence. Well, a few hours go by. People are like, wow, Facebook's still down. And then multiple sources say that Anonymous had actually taken credit for this and saying that they're tired of Facebook letting trying to word this in a nice way. Basically, it was an attack on Facebook for their use of letting people who are under the age of 18 roam freely on their site, doing whatever they want. I think that's the best way I could word that. So that was apparently the whole.
I think for gaming, it's like getting into early access when early access wasn't available.
Yeah, it's like trying to get into that early access beta and you didn't have the code, that kind of thing.
Sure.
I mean, you see the potential, but it's missing key features.
I didn't have it too far ahead. There's a scarf count.
Just
Sure, the scarf counts. So anyways, pedophiles, let's just keep going.
you said it. So yeah, basically that attack was on that for letting them basically do their business on Facebook. Had nothing to do with the whistleblower. I actually didn't watch the whistleblower interview because on a scale of 1 to care, I don't.
Yep.
Not about what they whistleblew or anything like that. I just can't be bothered to watch 60 Minutes. I won't be tricked into doing that again. But yeah, so for approximately 10 or so hours, people legitimately thought that their Facebook was going to go down. And you had all the Karens who don't know that any other social media exists were freaking out because they thought that they weren't going to be able to yell at teenagers on their restaurant food group pages anymore. And it was going to be a sad time for all. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of the coin you're on, Facebook's back, it's up and running, and it's probably only happened a couple more times before it gets taken down for good.
Or changes its name.
Or changes its name.
Apparently,
Yeah,
it might
that,
change its name.
yeah, the big Zuck himself has apparently been floating around ideas.
I hope he names it the Zucker book.
I'm surprised this hasn't happened to
I
Twitter.
literally hope he doesn't name it that.
I think it's going to be Zuckland.
Ooh, I like that.
I like get zucked.
He won't do that. It sounds too offensive. The
No,
Karens
he's an
out
alien.
there.
He doesn't know what's offensive.
You know that is
Zuckland
true. That is true. He doesn't know what's offensive. I mean, hell, he
I hope
made
he names it-
Facebook.
Hope he names it Bofa.
So with the crisis that happened, the air quote crisis of the 16-hour blackout, so how did that affect anyone here? Like,
No.
People have been trying to freaking hack my freaking Facebook. Other than that, it really didn't bother me because I never even knew what was going on.
so
You know what?
besides the
It
14-year-olds,
did bother me. It did bother me because everyone on Twitter made Twitter flood because everyone could get on Facebook or
yeah.
Instagram because Instagram and WhatsApp are tied to Facebook, and those were also went down. So I guess it affected more people in that sense. The minor detail left out, but whatever. It was more funny about Facebook going down than anything else. That's why I brought that up. But yeah, Instagram and stuff went down too because they're all part of Facebook, and
Yep.
so Twitter got flooded with people asking, "Is anyone else's Instagram down?" And so it's just like, yeah, shut up.
Now, I will say for me, because I run a lot of Facebook ads for other companies and stuff like that, for me, it did affect me because I'm trying to get my numbers down, trying to do everything else, and I'm looking at going, oh, I can't get any stats or nothing. And I don't work with small numbers, but even if I did work small numbers, I'm still paying for the ad that's on there. So I'm like, I need to know, and I can't cancel. I can't do anything else. I will say the upside, though, Facebook never updated. I finally found the bottom of Facebook. So I was happy with that. The bottom of Facebook
There
is,
you go.
it will pop up saying, hey, you are fully caught up. That's all it will say is you're fully caught up, and then it will go back to the past, like other stuff. So I was like, I found it. There is old stuff on here. So I finally found the air quote bottom of Facebook from it. But besides
Does that
that,
mean you're the top and Facebook's the bottom when it comes to being in bed?
Yeah, all I saw was my racist ants post from like 2 weeks ago. I was good after that.
but I mean, it happened. But the thing is, this is what frustrated me more was everyone was calm about this. We don't know if something got leaked for our accounts and stuff like that. T-Mobile gets hacked. Millions of people's social security numbers get leaked. And everyone's like, okay, it happened. Here's some ways to protect that in the future. It's like, we didn't talk about.
Oh,
Yeah,
see,
I'm
buddy
on T-Mobile.
boys.
I'm on T-Mobile.
You need that life lock. We're not
After the
sponsored.
situation happened that they're willing to
Yeah.
pay for 1 year, even though your social security number's out there, but your credit card information is safe. They wanted to make sure that was known. Your credit card info was secured. Social
see.
is fine. So
Well, the only thing they can use your social for is to open up new credit cards, and usually you should get alerted if that happens. If you have protection plans.
if you're not a Karen, you'll get alerted. I attack Karens. It's the best. But for Facebook, it was one of the situations. If you were someone who ran the ads and stuff, it did suck. But besides that, it was just helping the memes for Twitter get bombarded in. Like for the next couple of days, all I saw was Facebook versus Twitter, and Twitter's was like through the roof, and everything else. They're like, I don't shut down, and yeah, it was nonsense. But
I saw this funny meme. It's funny because I have I'm a millennial, but I have such Gen Z humor. Yeah, that's just my dog. If you could hear him, he's fine. So what's funny is I saw this funny post. It's from Cloud9, the one esports organization I follow. They posted a picture of like them, like it was like their logo on like the blue Among Us character, and he was in the lights area of the one map on Among Us, and they showed the next picture of all the lights, so it's just flipped up, and it says, "Don't worry, guys, we fixed it." It was pretty good. I liked it. I LOL'd.
oh god, don't you make me sorry that I know you. Oh my god, Wicked Witch is the being nice. No hate here, because I love to be back.
You know what? You know who does get hate though?
You for this next segue.
Twitch streamers, apparently, because Twitch. I don't want to say apparently. It's actually pretty bad what they have to go through sometimes. But Twitch streamers have been going through what's known as hate raids.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So people. Long story short, you could raid another streamer, like host them. You could send all your followers to go to their channel, and usually it's supposed to be a good thing, like, oh hey, we're sharing communities, blah blah blah. Well, other people will do that and start saying the N-word, and just say mean things about the other streamer. So it's the opposite of a good thing, also known as a hateful thing.
Which is actually more accurate to the term raid, by the way.
Yeah. I love the common misconception about Vikings as well. So I went to a high school football game. Sorry, short story, and then we'll get back to this. I went to a high school football game the other day. I was watching my brother-in-law's brother, is what it was. And the other team they were playing were called the Vikings. And their student section had a flag or a giant poster or whatever, and they called the student section the Village. And I look over and I go, they do realize that's not a good thing, right? But Vikings were notoriously not good to villages.
They didn't think that
They had a whole
through.
two-part action plan.
I'm ready if anybody.
Should call this section the longboat, and like even look like they're in a boat. Maybe even have shields along the front. There's a lot that you can do, and I guess I just hope that their team never riots afterwards. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, but yes, so in Twitch, these hateful raids were going on. So now Twitch is doing stuff about that. I don't know if they've actually started implementing these tools yet.
I haven't seen anything about it, but I'm definitely glad they're attempting to do something about it.
Well, and this kind of goes hand in hand with other Twitch news that's going on. There was a huge data leak with Twitch. Apparently people's accounts were getting hacked or tried to. Apparently two-factor authentication was being overridden. So basically what Twitch did was, hey, to log on, you have to change your password. Everyone's password got changed. Everyone's stream keys got changed. They did the right thing there. But another thing that came out of this was huge Twitch streamers' earnings and DMs or whispers or whatever they're called on Twitch. And other than the fact that we all know that Twitch streamers make a lot of money, nothing really crazy came out. Other than Twitch streamers make a lot of money if they're good at it.
Shocking.
Or if they're big enough anyway. So, yeah, Twitch overall is just trying to make themselves better, I suppose, which is coming at a time where they didn't. So if you would ask me a few years ago, Twitch was the place to be for streaming. But now even like huge streamers are going to Facebook gaming, YouTube gaming. YouTube almost, you can find a live stream on YouTube and you can get comparable numbers to it if you were on Twitch and all that.
Yeah.
It's insane. So many people, like big names, have switched to YouTube only gaming. Same with Facebook. I know a lot of people have made deals with Facebook gaming to only stream on there.
And I was looking at what are some of the different alternatives to Twitch, but also alternatives to, say, YouTube and Facebook. And there's a whole bunch. D Live, which is the one that I wanted to use. Theta, Caffeine.
Caffeine's
Some
another one.
Yeah, some of these are actually
I've
like
heard a lot
video
of-
sites, which I will also point as well. You know, also have Odyssey, Rumble, DTube, BitChute. There are a lot of these platforms, and it's not a bad idea to adopt them, because as they will grow, then you can be one of the early adopters. It's better to be an early adopter on that platform than a latecomer onto some of the other ones without any prior momentum, because then otherwise you got to build up your base within it, and it's not easy.
No.
Not easy to do. And the reason why I wanted to do D Live was actually just because because of my sense of humor, and because D Live is very much like a free speech platform. Yeah, I'm going to have to share some space with just some anti-Semites, but at least I know that like whatever it is I want to do, I can do it.
It's part of the job. So, before we move on, anyone else have any final thoughts on Facebook or Twitch?
So because it's a platform that I stream on everything but Twitch and D Live and Coffee and all that stuff. But I stream on like the big platforms, and I'm happy though because Twitch is finally doing something to improve themselves, because everyone continues to follow this trend of Twitch is the one to go for. Twitch is where you need to be. Twitch is this. If you stream, go to Twitch. I tell everyone I train, everyone I help with, I say go to Twitch. It's the best platform to get started, to learn what to do. And then if you have the good setup, if you have everything else, move to YouTube. That's honestly where it is. You got ad revenue that's actually figured out. You have donation systems that are actually figured out. You have chats. You have everything else. You have moderators that are easy to control. Everything's in your part of the woods. And if you want to give people permission, you can practically give them your channel if you wanted to from just being a moderator. But you control every little bit of it. And so if you're ready to advance from Twitch, there. I still don't recommend Facebook gaming to anyone, because if you're going to do Facebook, go to YouTube. Like, it's that easy. But with Twitch, though, Twitch is what we're discussing. I'm happy that they are trying to do something about the hate raids, because it affected the people I look up to, Achievement Hunter, really bad. It got them a few times, especially to the newer people in their team that are different colors. And it's hit them, and I feel like that's just wrong in every which way. But that's how I first heard about it. So when it comes down to like wanting to see it all stop, I really want it, but unfortunately, Twitch did not jump on it as fast as they should have. And I still haven't seen anything in action about it, so that concerns me. But when it's all said and done, don't go to Twitch. When it's all said and done, just don't. Just don't. Do it for training, but that's it. What, Charles?
I was going to say that there was a new bot that came out with that Twitch was letting people use to at least handle the bots and everything that was tagging people's channels. A friend of mine who I moderate for had to deal with the same thing a bit. She had to install the thing, and whenever it wasn't a bot, whenever some asshole would come in, I'll be right there freaking to snipe their freaking asses.
Okay, so Charles is no longer allowed near a school, a playground, or a church. So let's just write that down.
Chat. Yeah.
Or a Twitch chat, because he will find
Charles
where
is
you
the
live.
first person to have a restraining order from a Twitch chat. It's insane.
It's weird how that just magically happened.
Yeah. You know what else magically happened?
This segue!
Dude, my favorite channel growing up is coming back, and I'm so excited about it. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
Wait, VSH tapes are coming back?
What? No.
If they don't bring back X-Play, I do not give a fuck!
They are bringing back X-Play and Attack of the Show. G4 is coming back.
Woohoo! What is that?
Awesome. What?
I honestly don't know what G4 is.
Interesting.
All right, Joseph. Anyway, G4 is coming back. What are your thoughts about this? Because I'm pumped.
I don't know if you remember, but we had a conversation about G4 many episodes ago. It might have been like my third time on.
They started doing online episodes to try to get back into the swing of things before they can get a TV deal.
So just to recap my history with it. When my parents first got satellite, we would get free trials to a bunch of channels, including some ones we probably shouldn't have gotten free trials to. And we one of the channels that I took to was called Tech TV. And I enjoyed that. I begged my parents to subscribe to it for Tech TV and some of those other channels that we're not supposed to get access to, but mostly Tech TV. And what we know as XPlay started on that, and it actually was called Extended Play before that. And what you know as Attack of the Show used to be called the Screensavers. And I loved Tech TV. Because it was really like a haven for nerds, and it was respectful of nerd culture. Yeah, there was a sense of humor to it, but it had like a communal atmosphere. And then one day, I was completely blindsided by it. It was merged with G4, so then it started being called G4 Tech TV, and all these game channels, all these game shows entered into the fray, and of course XPlay was found a home there. So there was a lot of stuff that G4 did I didn't like. To me, G4 was biased. They did not treat Nintendo very well, and I still remember to this day Kevin Pereira. There was this news program called Pulse, and he made this prediction that Nintendo was going to lose the console war and was not going to make consoles any longer, and they would end up like Sega, which so far hasn't happened. And I also remember when they were doing Attack of the Show, they did this thing where they made fun of this video about these guys got together and made a 15-minute Smash Bros. Low budget comedy video. Like for Kirby, for instance, they drew Kirby's face on a body and then put a hat on like a giant hat on the guy's head. Yeah. It was just like just like a creative, fun video. And basically, their idea of content was to take that and then make fun of it for 5-10 minutes. And there's just a lot of things about G4 that I don't like. There are some stuff that I do like. I think some of their content is fantastic. I liked Icons. I liked Filter. I liked Cinematech. But I don't like that channel. And the reason why is because I don't like that they are going to become the authority on game culture by way of simply being the only TV station about games. It's like economic authoritarianism. And so when I saw that news, I posted it. I don't necessarily wish that I were more enthusiastic about it, but I feel that they represent the industry as is dictated by the people with the money, and they don't represent the rebellious part of gaming, where a lot of the reason why people got into gaming in the first place was because they didn't have anywhere else, and they sought a refuge in playing games, and they formed these communities and they got together, and it's this anti-authoritarianism, or just this rebellious vibe to it, which to me G4 didn't abide by the way that they would call out that the what I consider to be the more or organic gaming community. So that's my take on it. And I happen to think that people like Kevin Pereira aren't going to be held accountable for all the times they were wrong, or all the times that they would attack something like Nintendo on their channel, and they're gonna have their platform back, and I would like to see fresh blood, because I feel like those people have not been held accountable for all the times that they were wrong or mean unnecessarily.
There is a bunch of new hosts to take over some new shows, I'm sure, and they did mention Attack of the Show and XPlay as being back, but we don't know who's going to be hosting those yet. But what before we finish this off, I do want to ask. So you brought up them being the authoritarian figure on this for being the only one. This might be you would know this, Joseph. Charles, you might know this. Jordan, I don't know if this was in your time. Game Informers.
Yes.
They were the most easily accessible video game magazine there was. Mm-hmm. And then others started popping up. So we're now Game Informers, kind of like, you mentioned Game Informer, people was like, oh yeah, I know what that is, but like other things are now more easily accessible. Do you think with this coming back that this would and with the rise of popularity of not just video games but technology and interest in technology in general, could this cause a final competitor to G4 in the near future, or maybe not so near future, but eventually? Do you think this could cause something to where they won't be the authoritarian figure? They might be a figurehead, whereas you'd have another figurehead.
Well, let's come up with, here's a few examples. So there are situations where you have multiple networks competing to do the same kind of content, but then you have situations where they don't. So you have the History Network. I can't think of like a competitor to the History Network. You have the Comedy Network or Comedy Central. You have other networks that are known for strong comedy lineups, like say NBC, but you don't have like the Comedy Channel.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have lots of news networks. You have I was about to say food, but I think even food is more like maybe
There's
they do have a
multiple.
bunch of, yeah. So you get into different niches, but I don't think that I don't see it coming. I think that whatever market would be better served by, I guess, the opposition to G4 are probably don't even have TVs. Honestly, they just stick strictly to the online gaming landscape. I still I'll give you guys a quick example of the tonal shift. So when I don't remember if this was when it was called Extended Play or if it was called X Play, but still on Tech TV. But they did a lot of like on the ground visits to conventions and just talked to people of culture. And they talked to this one girl who was dressed as Yuna from Final Fantasy X. Now, she was a bit on the big side. She didn't exactly look the part of Yuna, but they still let her say her piece, and that was it. And so, let bygones be bygones, I guess. And they were just talking to people, going to the convention. I think it was like Gen Con or Fanime or one of those. Then when G4 took over, they took that same clip, but now they were using it to fat shame her.
Yikes.
That's the kind of thing that happens with that. I feel like I'm one of the few people who really understand this because I watched them do it. I watched Tech TV, which was welcoming, critical, had a kind of a dorky sense of humor, and then switching into this, which was you better be the right kind of nerd because otherwise all the other kinds of nerds are not going to be welcome here.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, from hearing what you guys are saying, I don't know how I feel about the new, like, what is it, G4? I don't know how I feel about how that's in, especially now we're in a cancel culture kind of field where if we don't like something, it's gone. So I don't know how I see this going out well. Especially like you just said, how they were fat shaming and things like that. You did that now. I'm pretty certain you're not just gonna be able to go, stay tuned to the next episode. It's gonna be, oh, we messed up. Like I don't know how that's gonna work, but you can give constructive criticism. So maybe they could do that. I did see on there something about Jack Black and Kevin's. I just lost the page. I seen like Jack Black is one I'm more not obsessed, but like focused on because he's a big nerd. So if he's gonna be one of the hosts for the show, even if he's like gonna be start roasting people or commenting on what they're doing, I'll be excited about that. I love Jack Black. Like everything of his I follow.
There's a few people who can get away with almost anything. I think Jack Black Black could go into your house and murder your children as long as he does it. Like everyone would be like,
yeah, clean the blood off the knife. You got this, man. Like, yeah, Jack Black is one of the characters, and I thought it was Kevin Hart, but I misread it. I'm trying to go back while I'm thinking about it, but yeah, I mean, if the hosts on there are at least skillful with what they're doing I don't know what all. I've seen something about D&D stuff happened on there before.
Yes. So they. Who was it? I don't know if you guys have heard of Critical Role.
It sounds really familiar. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. One of the guys on there, he's I think hosting a campaign or going to be hosting multiple campaigns on there as well. Because D&D culture is also getting big up there in popularity. I mean, D&D's been around forever,
Long time.
But I mean, it's over the past couple years. It's finally entered the mainstream.
That I'm so happy about. Like,
Yeah.
that I grew up with D&D, so I'm just happy seeing
But
that come in more.
Here's the thing. G4 is one of those things where usually I'd be like, oh, go watch a couple old episodes and then come see the new ones. But with something like this, you really don't need to. It's more so just because of the fast rate that technology, video games, and everything goes. Really, you could just hop in whenever they start being on TV or whatever like that, and you'll either like it or you don't. It's not like me. I had nostalgia glasses when I read that G4 is coming back. I'm still gonna watch it for the first time. Like it's my first time watching it. I'm gonna treat it like everything else I watch. I like it. I like it. If I don't, I won't watch it.
Yeah.
And with Joseph bringing up good points about them, if they start going into their old ways, they start making hot takes that I don't necessarily agree with, I probably won't watch it because those hot takes, their minds don't change. I mean, you brought up the
One of them once said that they thought that PC gaming was gonna die. Oh boy. Hire her again. Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. Some people sometimes they just throw out hot takes that they don't even believe, but they just say it just to get clicks because clicks equals controversy equals clicks equals views equals money. But Charles, do you have any final thoughts on this before we send her home, bud?
I'm just hoping whoever they have to be the host for X Play, at least somewhat as good as Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb, because those two are like my two favorite hosts on that show.
So Adam Sessler is back. I did see that Adam Sessler is back. I know Morgan Webb on the G4 Twitter was taking pictures with some of them. I don't know if that was like her saying she's back or if she was just like trying to get a few people to like their Twitter page or whatever.
Fingers crossed.
But they have but they do have another girl on there. She's a League of Legends interviewer, I think she would be, because I don't think she's a caster.
I thought she was in like a tournament or something like that. Doing
Olivia May or whatever her name is. She's pretty funny. I follow her on Twitter since I saw she was part of G4. I followed her. She has some funny stuff she says on the timeline. But yeah, I would like to see her if Morgan Webb's not back. I'd like to see her there with Adam Sessler. Because let's be honest, even back then, Adam Sessler kind of carried the show. You know what I mean? And I feel like he would do it again as long as his. I don't want to say it like this because it makes me sound like I hate old people, but as long as his age hasn't made him change his hasn't caught up to him in his gaming views. Like if he's adaptive to the video game world, because you have to be adaptive in this community. People love the nostalgia, like people go back and play old games, but if you don't expand yourself in some way when it comes to some of the newer stuff, you're lost in the sauce. But
one show they could bring back that would actually be better now than it was back in the day. You guys remember the show Arena?
Vaguely, yeah, but I remember it.
That show basically two teams of people playing games like CS:GO and other like team-based shooters. If they brought that back, and there'd probably be quite a bit of fan base because there's a lot of the competitive scene in video games is a lot bigger than it was back then.
Esports is huge now. Yeah, I do it now that you mentioned it. I do remember the show Arena. I remember I watched them. I think they played it. The one episode I actually remember was they played Halo or something like that. But yeah, so any final thoughts on anything we talked about today, boys?
On this, I'll just say one. It doesn't carry the weight of being like the refuge anymore because most people have access to like 100 different communities anyways. So no one's going to go through what I went through, where you really didn't have anywhere else to turn to have your culture validated, only to have it, thrown back at you. But I've stated that, so I'm not going to do that again. And then the other side of it is, at least now there's more power to the consumer to have their voice. So if people don't like something, they can speak out. And there's more of a balance. So even if they try to be the final word on gaming culture, they're not gonna have that power anymore. So it really is gonna fall to, compelling content and trying to broaden the reach of gaming for everybody, so that people who, like me, are gonna need a niche can at least go looking for it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Back then you were able to say whatever you want and people just took it as a take. Nowadays, if you make a bad take or an unpopular take on your show, social media's gonna let you know about it.
Fast.
And yeah. But with that, I think I've said my piece. Anyone else?
I did want to real fast bring back up. So, reading the article that I'll have links down below, whenever this is posted. So as it says, the D&D limited series, one of the people in it will be Jack Black. So that's what he's going to be doing. It's in the D&D show, and Kevin Smith will also be in there. Kevin Smith has done things all around, but Jack Black is a part of the D&D show. So if you follow any social media outlet, you will probably have a bunch of memes of Jack Black, guaranteed. And it's going to be him dressed up like an idiot or like a woman elf. Knowing Jack Black, he's going to be wearing a thong at one point in time.
I'm still waiting for a trailer for the Borderlands movie.
Well, hopefully soon.
Jack Black will probably roleplay as a bard.
Jack Black's gonna be.
He sings. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Jack Black does any musical related thing. He better do something that's a reference to when he voiced the dude from Brutal Legend.
I was about to say that when you said that, I immediately thought of the Brutal Legend game that he was in.
I just hope that it's as good as I'm imagining it will be. So I'm excited for that. Now, or do we have any topics left, or did you just want to try to shut the baby down?
I think we're we were going to, but yeah. So with that, I think that concludes the season premiere of season 2. We are gonna have our friends, well, not just our friends, we're gonna have all of us shout out our socials and where you can get a hold of us outside of the show. So we'll start with Charles.
If you like watching people rant and rave about certain video games and wrestling or NASCAR, especially with the last couple of races coming up and everything, you can subscribe to my channel, which is CJ the Lone Wolf, which is almost at 100 subs, which I'm really hoping I can hit that before the end of the year, especially since I have my first live stream coming up for live reacting to AEW's upcoming pay-per-view. Just something I'm freaking looking forward to and also dreading at the same time.
Yeah, well, we're rooting for you, man.
Yeah, I'll be there for emotional support if you need.
I will be there to support you no matter what. I just can't guarantee I'm gonna follow along with anything because I don't watch esports. Not esports, but WWE. I don't watch it. But
He doesn't watch sports, period.
I don't watch any sports. Okay, I don't even do sports. I sit in a chair all day.
And if Hangman Adam Page wins the title, we will shut off the stream immediately. Yep. All right, Joseph, what about you? Shouts out, my big man.
GiantEnemyCompany.com is where you can go to see what I've done lately, and then that'll take you to multiple places, including my most prized of projects. I work for a great e-commerce company that wants to help you set up your online store and start making some money. So the podcast is called Ecomonics, ECOMONICS.
Nice. So what about you, Jordan?
Oh, wow, where can you find me? Well,
nowhere. All right, now you can find me.
Where you can find me is Skull Hunter Games, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. That is where we are. That's where we have our fun. If you want to see Dead by Daylight specifically, though, that will be Facebook. Due to our new update, Facebook will be all the Dead by Daylight and only Dead by Daylight. YouTube will be Call of Duty and other things I can make little fun clips out of. That's where that will be. And my TikTok. That's right. I got a TikTok. That's where all the TikToks will be. Because it's there.
TikTok is where you'll be posting your TikToks? That's insane.
Dude, yeah. That's where we post my TikTok. TikTok. But James, what about your ancient boy? Where can people find you?
If you have a TikTok strategy, is that called a TokTik?
Hey, no one asked. No one asked.
That's awesome. You can find me multiple places. Mostly just Twitter. I like to crap post sometimes. That's what I do. That's at Architect CSGO. You can also find me on YouTube at The Architect. You can find me on here at The Architect. And you can also find this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. That's none of our business. You can also find us on YouTube at Skull Hunter Podcast. And you can find the Twitter at Skull Hunter Pod on Twitter. And with that, I believe that is our conclusion of this episode. Thank you all for listening or watching, depending on what you're doing. And have a wonderful week. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Hell infinite high, motherfuckers!
Woo! No monetization. Let's go.